Hello there, algebra class. Hey, in this lesson, this is lesson 4.9, we're going to be talking about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Now, Miss Emily is taking geometry right now, so if you have any questions, you can ask her to clarify anything about parallelograms and whatnot. But what we're going to first do is identify, and second of that, we're going to write equations describing them. So, when two lines are in the same plane and they have the same slope, then we say they're parallel lines. The idea is that they will never intersect. They will never touch each other. And if you can look at this equation in slope-intercept form, you can see that both of these lines have a slope of 3. So simply put, two different non-vertical lines have the same slope if they're parallel. And all vertical lines, or all horizontal lines, are also parallel. Well, what does this mean? When it says identify which lines are parallel, the first thing you want to do is directly identify the slope from each line, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to put it in slope-intercept form. So I've got 4 different lines, 4 equations here. Y equals 2x minus 3, well that's already in slope-intercept form. The slope is 2. I've got y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. That's also in slope-intercept form, but its slope is negative 2/3. This one is 2x plus 3y. I got to fix that one. And this one here is in point slope form, which I can rearrange it, or I can look right here at the 3 and say, oh, wait a minute, the slope is 3. So let's work on this third one on the board. I'll get my picture out of the way. So the third one, 2x plus 3y equals 8. Let's see, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides to move it over. I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 8. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Remember, you're dividing everything by 3, not just one part of it. And you get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 8/3. And this last one here, again, I said, well, it's not in slope-intercept form, but it's in point slope form. I can easily identify the slope. The slope is 3. So of these these 4 equations, which two have the same slope? This one has a slope of negative 2/3, and this one has a slope of negative 2/3. So go ahead and try these 2 problems on your own. You can pause the video, and then we'll go on to the next step. Please work together. Now, when you get to problem 3, it says find the slope of each segment. And again, you can either count it out or you can use the slope formula. And then you need to explain why ABCD is a parallelogram. And just a quick geometry lesson, a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with 2 sets of parallel sides. And so what we're saying here is if AD has the same slope as BC and AB and DC have the same slope, then it's a parallelogram. And of course what they're asking you to do first is to find the slope of each one of these line segments and go ahead and prove it. Now, perpendicular lines are lines that intersect at 90-degree angles. And when we get another way to look at it in the coordinate plane is when you take the slope of this red line, which is negative 2/3, and this blue line, which is 3/2, when you multiply their slopes together, you get negative 1. So the slope of line 1 times the slope of line 2 is negative 1 if those lines are perpendicular. Another way to put it is the slope of the line perpendicular to this blue one is the opposite reciprocal. So this slope is 3/2. The opposite of that is negative 3/2, and the reciprocal is negative 2/3. Of course, the other exception to this, a vertical line has an undefined slope. Horizontal line has a slope of 0. So vertical and horizontal lines are perpendicular. All right, a very similar problem to the last. Identify which lines are perpendicular. You've got y equals 3. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to graph these out. It's probably the easiest way to do it. So y equals 3 is this one right here. Y equals 3, 1, 2, 3. X equals negative 2 is this one here. Maybe can I change the color? That'd be kind of cool. Maybe. Look at that. I'll move that one over in a second. Y equals 3x. Hold on, let me ask. Ashley, what color do you want? What color do you like? Green. I'll use a different shade of green. How about that green? All right. So this one is going to go through 0. It's going to go up 3 over 1. And then I'm going to pick one more color that's way different. How about red? And the last one has a slope of negative 1 over 3. And again, I know that's goes through this point here. Negative 4. 1 down 3 over. And I can extend that. So when I look at these, I can see, hey, wait a minute. This has a slope of 3. Try that again. This has a slope of 3. This has a slope of negative 1/3. These two lines are perpendicular. When I multiply them together, 3 times negative 1/3, I get negative 1. That makes them perpendicular. And of course, this is a vertical line. You probably can't see that. This is a vertical line. This is a horizontal line. So these form a right angle, and they are also perpendicular. Now, try that one on your own. Next application of this, of course, a right triangle is a triangle that has a 90-degree angle in it. So if I wanted to see that this triangle ABC was a right triangle, I would need to see if two of those lines are perpendicular. Well, it appears that this one here, AC and AB, are perpendicular. The way to figure that out is check the slope. So let's do that one. I'm going to use green here. And this one I've got a rise of 1, 2, and a run of 1, 2, 3. So AB, the slope of AB equals 2 over 3. Now let's find the slope of AC. And here I'll change colors. Connor wants yellow. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So down 3 over 2. You can see that these two are opposite reciprocal, which means if I multiply them together, I get negative 1. And yeah, that means this is a right angle, and that makes it a right triangle. Okay, your turn. Try the same thing on this problem. And then on Friday during class, you're going to work on these problems right here. Remember, you can go back and pause the video. Right? On Friday, you're going to work on these problems here, and I will show you the solutions to see how you did on getting those right. And here's your solutions to that worksheet. See you all on Monday.